What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I have for you guys a video I haven't brought to you guys in a while, but here we are. This is the guide to SPI's, what we'll call, term I really don't like to use, but the benchmark ball, or the go-to ball, the meat of the bag is what I like to personally call it. Storm, Roto Grip, and 900 Global, they each have one to their each respective nameplates or whatever, brands, whatever you want to call it, with the release of the Vengeance. So obviously the Vengeance with 900 Global, the Rockstar with Roto Grip, and the Phaze 2, obviously you guys know, with Storm. So these are balls that you'll typically gravitate towards, especially if you're a tournament bowler. You'll use them at some point in the tournament, barring some extreme conditions. So yeah, just want to kind of give you a comparison of the three. I've got all three right here, and I know Darren's Vengeance video was kind of like this, and I don't think we see them the same, and that's probably due to the fundamental difference of he has no thumb hole anymore and I do, so my balls are going to be affected by the way I drill them, much different than his are. But I'm just going to talk to you about what I'm seeing. You're going to get to see some go down the lane, obviously, talk to you through the shape differences, the windows that I feel like they hook in, which one's the strongest, meaning which one's the earliest, which one's not the strongest, and how they're moving, etc., etc. But I'm just gonna bowl. It's not gonna be a game or anything. I guess we'll just go chronologically, right? Everybody knows and loves the Phaze 2. TX16 cover, velocity core, comes out at 248051, I believe, for the core numbers. This one comes at a different surface prep though. This one comes at 3000 out of box. The other two come out at 2000. But all these have kind of been resurfaced because these balls are actually, you know, the Rockstar and the Phaze 2 specifically are a little bit more used, a little older. Not super used though, but obviously older than the Vengeance. So I've hit them with some surface to try and get them back to brand new-ish. I'm bowling on Montreal from 2020, so it's a 41-foot pattern. It's not the easiest thing in the world, not the hardest thing in the world either. But just gonna throw first, talk later, throw more, talk more. Then there's going to be some comment down below that says I talk way too much. That's okay. So the Phaze 2 shape we all kind of know and love. The reason why the Phaze 2's been out forever, and funny enough, it's kind of the reason why I don't throw it too much. It's obviously a strong cover, low RG, high diff ball, so it's designed to hook early, designed to really pick up in the front and the middle part of the lane. But it's actually pretty quick for what it is, especially relative to the other two balls that we're comparing it to today. That's kind of the reason why I don't throw it too much. There was a time period where when the original Idol came out and I was still on tour, I was actually using the Idol and the Phaze 2 as kind of a 1-2 combination because, you know, I'm a little above average with the rev rate, so I can get the Phaze 2 to really corner on the back end. But as far as controlling the lane, it's never been the best thing for me. When I needed more aggressive back end motion, but the pearls just weren't correct, Phaze 2 would come into play. But as far as a large use window, not particularly for me. Now, my first one back in 2016, that was pin down, hold down, different story, all right? But we got no weight holds anymore, so these have gotten a little bit quicker on me, especially on the back end, because they're not slowing down as much. But out of the three, in my opinion, it gives you the most, like, it's not really a skid flip, but the most skid flippy kind of feel. But I'll throw one or two more with this one, move on. I'm also progressively gonna move a little bit left just because I actually don't even know if I'm in the right part of the lane. And that's terrible. Okay. Just in case you guys were doubting that this is not a house shot, there you go. But I felt J-Rag coming, so I threw a J-Rag shot. There we go, let's lock in a little bit here. Better? You see, it's the one out of the three that doesn't really lack for down lane motion. Again, for people like J-Rag over there who can't hook the ball, most people will enjoy the Phaze 2 shape. And that's why it's been in the product line for, by the time I think September rolls around, it'll be 10 years since the Phaze 2's been out. So it's kind of what you get out of Phaze 2. You guys know Phaze 2. I'm talking too much about Phaze 2. But moving down the chronological line of the benchmark balls that are in line, Rockstar would be next. Came out last year. I suppose we'll call it the heir apparent to the Idols, even though the Optimum Idol came out. Actually, this came out after the Optimum Idol, so yeah. This one in the Phaze 2, through the first half of the lane, I think they're like exactly the same. The covers are very similar. RG numbers are the same at 248, but this one's got an 050 diff, which is, you know, 1 point, but whatever. Also, I will mention, all the layouts are very slightly different. The Phaze 2 is 5 1/4 with a 2 3/4 buffer. The Vengeance is 5 with a 2 1/2 buffer. And this one is 4 3/4 with a 2 1/2 buffer. So they're close, but they're not really enough to make a huge difference for you guys. But this one, I think, is the smoothest out of them all, which is why I've liked it a lot, especially compared to the Phaze 2. You'll kind of notice that here, but I'll stay in the same spot. It should shape a little rounder and more forward, hopefully. Not if you throw like that, though. So that was a bit around it, as Chris would call it. That was the Pete Weber release. Hand's not really dialed in currently, but still a much rounder shape than the Phaze 2. It's splitting hairs, obviously. Like, you can get any of these 3 balls and probably be pretty happy with it as far as filling that gap in your bag. But if you're a bit of a higher level bowler and you develop preferences, you got to know which one does what. So let's try and keep the rotation under 80 degrees here. There we go. Now see, through the first portion of the lane, it feels the same, like I'm standing in the same exact spot, but it's a little bit of a rounder shape, and depending how you lay it out, you can get it to go pretty forward, or you can get it to continue a little bit better. With the Phaze 2s, because the window I feel like is a little bit shorter as far as that hook window that I seem to mention in most videos. With that shorter hook window, that means it's going forward a little bit faster. Not my favorite thing in the world, especially for a ball that I might be trying to shape a little bit further left. Not great. Rockstar, a little bit more progressive. Hook window's a little bit wider. Maybe it's that 1 less point of diff. Who really knows? Maybe it's the darker colors. Who really knows? But this ball, for the SPI guys, has been the one this past tour season. But the Vengeance is here, and we'll see if that has some play. But I'll throw one more with this one. We'll get into Vengeance, and I'll hopefully show you the difference. Another pretty good one. I'm not gonna say much rounder, but it's rounder than the Phaze 2. As you see, the Phaze 2 was kind of exiting a little bit more left, a little bit quicker transition. I would say it probably hooked a little bit further down the lane as well. And then Rockstar, a little bit more body, a little bit rounder. And that's a shape that these little Chinese eyes like to see. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to bring race into it, but I'm Chinese, I can say that. Now, the newcomer, the Vengeance. This one's the most different out of the 3, mainly with the core numbers. We got 247,055 in this one. So much lower, well, no, 1 point lower RG, but much higher diff. 4 points higher than the Phaze 2, 5 points higher than the Rockstar. And there's something about the cover that feels a little bit more beefy. Like, this feels like the Optimum Idol closer. Optimum Idol had lower RG, higher diff than those 2 as well. So it feels like it's got a little bit more meat. But I'll stand in the same spot first. It might still strike, because it actually might blend it, because it's just a stronger ball. Well, that's a shape I can get behind right there. I personally have the confidence in that ball that it's going to slow down a little bit faster than those 2. I was a big Idol guy and a big Optimum Idol guy. This ball definitely feels like what I'll call a half step up. I feel like it picks up earlier than those 2. It's got more diff, and that RB91, not really sure what exactly it is, if it's the same kind of blend as those 2 or if it's a bit stronger. But it just feels like it's got more meat, more beef. Feels like it's got a little more ass into it. The reason why this one makes me feel comfortable, especially when I'm bowling on medium patterns, which is not my forte, unless urethane's in play, where your left to right miss comes from is actually your ball reading the right window front to back. So a lot of times I'll have trouble with balls reading a little bit too far down the lane. And that's where you feel like you can't control the break point, left to right. You get a ball that picks up a bit earlier, especially that's not asymmetric, so it's not going forward. That's a great combination. People who throw it a little bit harder, people who just want a ball that reads a bit earlier that isn't asym, this is the one. This is the strongest symmetric ball we make. Like I said, I call it about a half step up from the Phaze 2 and Rockstar. Ah. Just not locked in. I'm just J-rag types of locked in. Okay, we're gonna try to throw one more good one, and then we're gonna move like a section and a half to the left, and we'll see how the balls differ. Because I think we're kind of in the right part of the lane. Balls are gonna look kind of good, but we'll see which ones corner, which ones don't from a bit further left. I have a inkling of which ones will. Yeah, so that one's gonna feel the roundest because it's the earliest. That one got to that same spot that the Phaze 2 and the Rockstar were striking from, but just doesn't retain as much energy, which to me, that shot's fine, because that's a shot that I feel like I can actually get a little bit more aggressive with my hand, although I have tried to be getting into the habit of not doing that, trying to touch it a little bit better. But here we go, we'll go 6 left, we'll work our way backwards with the balls. We'll start with Vengeance, Rockstar, then Phaze 2. 6 left, let's throw it a little slower, obviously. No clue where we're gonna get it to down lane. Yeah, see, that's about the limit currently on this pattern that ball wants to be thrown. But you see how round and slow it is? So it's not gonna be the most shapeable one. And I think if you're a big time tournament bowler, you drive to tournaments, you have 9, 12 balls in the bag, I would definitely carry Vengeance and either Rockstar or Phaze 2. Vary the layouts a little bit so you create a little bit more difference, but once I get to the other balls, I'll show you that, because this one's probably gonna be better from a little bit shallower, straighter angles, because it's earlier and a little bit slower. Like I was talking about the Phaze 2, shape's a little bit more down lane. That's the one you're gonna wanna get into when you wanna peel the lane open, like a banana. Yeah, I'm just not gonna have that recovery from the right with that ball. Just lower RG, higher diff, it's stronger, not retaining as much energy, albeit those balls might not recover from that spot either, because that was pretty bad, but we move on. This is not the greatest I've ever thrown in my life, I'll be honest, but same spot. I don't have the left miss in me today, it's the right miss. Well, that one got even further right. It did the same thing. What that does for you as far as information, no clue. All right, we're just a little late getting there, so we gotta get the timing back. Oh my God. This is what you would call not dialed. Although, to be fair, I threw like 3 shots the exact same, so. Okay, we're gonna throw a good one. Those shots are just lazy. I also don't even know if I'm looking at the right target. It would help. All right, so this spot's probably not the right spot for whatever I feel like I have to do to the ball, but we're gonna keep going. Honestly, this is a spot where I'd be more comfortable throwing the Vengeance because it does blend the lane a little bit more. From this spot, it's a little flat. The lane's just not ready for this spot yet. It's better. So that was about as close as I can get to the Vengeance shot that struck. You guys notice the Vengeance kind of labored a little bit into the pocket. Didn't look like the sexiest strike to me. That one, and that's not even the ball I think is the quickest one. A little bit more energy retention with the Rockstar. Upper deck 7, that's never a good thing. But it only took us 5 shots to throw a good one with the Rockstar. And now the one to me that feels the cleanest, feels like it shapes the most, we will throw from that same spot. Hopefully not to the right. A little bit right. So that got a little bit further right, but like out of the 3, the Rockstar almost feels the most balanced. I'm trying to figure out a way to describe it. Because that shot, and that's what I find a lot with Phaze 2s, is if I try and hook them just a little bit too much, they have the right response time, but they just go forward. The Rockstar, as you can see from that same spot, kept going. All right, one more. Hopefully it's in the right area code. Definitely the cleanest out of the 3 down. From that spot, you can see that one gets much further down the lane. And that's what I thought. Having thrown Phaze 2s for about 10 years, it's kind of the feeling I get. And just visually, not my favorite shape. But this is a ball that I just gravitate towards throwing. Don't know why, but it's a shape that my eye likes. There we go. The roundest of them all because it's the strongest. Most diff, 55 as opposed to 51 and 50. I feel like the cover is stronger too, so it's almost like it's a gap filler slash taking that benchmark spot for global. That's it, guys. That's all I got for you this video. If you guys like these category of ball comparisons, I guess we'll call it, let me know down below. I haven't done these in a while, so I'm bringing it back. The last time I think I did this was with the Summit Ascent, which is like a 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years. So I thought this video needed updating. Bring the Rockstar in, bring the Vengeance in, because it just came out. There wasn't a much more perfect time than this. So if you guys like the jerseys that we wear on this channel, efx.co, link is down in the description below. Use code MITA for 10% off at checkout. Helps you, helps me. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. If not, I truly apologize. I wish I can give you the 15 minutes back that this video is, but I can't. But hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.